Hey everyone, depending on where you are watching us today, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So, welcome to another Forge Dev Den. My name is Ayan, and I'll be your host today. Co hosting with me is none other than the Forge dancing queen herself, Katerina. Hey Katerina.
Hi, hello.
Hey,
Good
how are you?
evening for me.
Oh, good evening,
It's
Katerina. How are you?
yeah, it's evening in Sydney. I'm well, thank you. Actually, I should say I'm a bit sick today, so if I don't give my usual level of energy, I apologize.
But hope you feel better soon. But thank you as always for making time and joining this event. Okay, thanks. But that aside, we have a very exciting and relevant session today. So, in the recent conferences we've both attended, I've listened to developers asking if it is possible to create a custom branded page without any of the Atlassian branding using Forge. Back then, the answer was not that positive, I must say. However, with this new Confluence module going on early access program, I believe it will satisfy this specific developer need. How about you, Katerina? What do you think about Confluence's new full page module?
I think it's going to be very, very exciting. I've seen a preview, and you pretty much can control the entire real estate of your browser, and this is exciting. It's it wasn't available before, and now like it's going to give you so many opportunities, and hopefully you'll be inspired to do a lot of great things. And I'm actually like, I think I'll have like even more thoughts after we've seen the demo and the presentation.
Cool, cool. I know everyone is excited to hear from our engineers, Han and Timothy. But before I call our speakers from the backstage, I have a few announcements, if you'll indulge me. Okay. First one, Team EU in Barcelona is roughly a couple of months away. So if you haven't registered and maybe waiting or looking for a sign, this is it. This is the sign you are looking for. So as an added bonus, the DX team will be there. So we will conduct Forge workshops that cater to both beginner and intermediate Forge developers. So Katerina, you've been to a couple of Atlassian team events recently, right? So can you share
Yes.
a gist of what the attendees can learn if they attend our workshop?
Yes, so first of all, Ian will be running some workshops that are more introductory. So if you are very new to Forge, please sign up for those. We'll go from the very basic, starting from the very first Forge command, while in the afternoon there will be an intermediate session which will go deeper into your Forge knowledge, and we will be showing one of the most common use cases that we hear from every customer, and that's how to access external data directly in Jira. And when I say external data, it can be really anything. It can be your CRM, a test or a requirement system, or even a database directly. Maybe you have a legacy database uh, out there and you would like to see that data and use it in Jira. And we will also be showing visualization, so you can visualize all that data in charts, and these charts are as flexible as you can imagine them. And we can add this external data and the dashboards showing them directly in a Jira dashboard gadget. So, which
Hmm.
I think most people are familiar with if they use Jira.
Yep. Sounds really awesome. So if you want to learn all that in a guided environment, please join us in Barcelona. Next up, to the Forge beginners out there, if you're interested to learn how to build Forge apps at your own pace, check out Atlassian's Forge Learning Path. In this beginner course, you'll be able to build an app from scratch. You'll also get acquainted with the different building blocks necessary to enhance your Forge app. Okay, and with that, let's move on to the topic at hand. So it is time to introduce the speakers for today. First up, we have Han with us. Han. Yep, Han has been a really good supporter of DevDen, and this is her second event, if I'm not mistaken. And spoiler alert, we're planning on a third one before the year ends, so stay tuned. So thanks for being here, Han. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Thank you so much, Ian and Katarina, for that awesome introduction. So yeah, hi, my name is Hun, and I'm from the Forge UI team as a front-end software engineer. I've been there for about 1.5 years now. Yeah, so that is me.
Thanks, Han. Next up, we have Timothy. Hi, Timothy. Yep,
Hi Ian, how's it going?
I'm doing good. And you?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Yep, I think you're a first-time guest of Forge Dev Dance. So can you share something about yourself for our viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm fairly new to Forge and Atlassian in general. Actually, I've only been here for 7 months. Still learning the ropes, like many of you in the community. So no, it's been a wonderful experience, and I've seen Dev really love the energy and the topics that you guys cover. So yeah, really excited to be here.
That's good. Thanks, Timothy. So with that, nice balloons, Katerina, by the way. Okay, I'll start sharing. Can you share your screen now, Han? I think we lost it.
Yes. Awesome. Cool. I'm going to bring it up.
Okay. While
Okay, let
Han
me
is bringing
use
it up,
that.
maybe let's go to the chat first. Oh, let's say some folks are saying hi. So Susie, so happy Wednesday to you. Okay.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then we had
I also wanted to point out that we can't type in the chat, only Ian can. So hi everyone.
yep. So Sanam, hello to you. And lastly, Sachin, hi to you as well. So hey everyone. With that, I'm gonna share your screen, Han. There you go. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yep. Okay. So, as I said before, I'm Han from the 4GI team, and today we want to be showing you a new module that we've dropped called Full Page Module. I'd like to point out that this is an effort of a team of engineers from UI, but the feature lead that was able to make this module possible today and a reality is with us, and it's none other than Timothy. Timothy, would you like to add anything or say anything about yourself before we get started?
No, it was a great probably one of the first projects that I was able to deliver with the team and work together and just see how everything worked at Atlassian and the great culture and what we were able to produce and really excitingly what our community partners and customers will produce with the work that we've achieved here. So no, excited. Let's go.
Awesome. Cool. So let's jump right into it. So our goal today is that we want to show you what full page apps can do and hopefully inspire you to give it a go yourself and have a go to see what cool app ideas you guys can cook up. So we'll be circling back to this at the end of the presentation to see if we have achieved our goal. So I am going to hand over back to Timothy now to walk through what the current problems are and how full page modules will solve it. Over to you, Timothy.
Thanks, Han. Yeah, so thinking about what makes this module different, um, and so on the surface it may not necessarily seem like much, but it's more about the ideas and the future that we're looking at with what where do we want Forge to go and what do we want to be able to achieve with Forge apps and what do we want our community to achieve through Forge. And so if we think about what we have today and we think about modules, they're purpose driven, right? So they have a scope and it's not necessarily well defined scope, but it's kind of an implicit understanding of how each module fits into the products. So modules are embedded in product UIs in Jira and Confluence, for example. And you wouldn't necessarily go and put admin controls or site-wide controls or features inside of a Jira issue panel, for example. So that's kind of what I mean when I say modules today are very purpose-driven. They have this scope of I guess best case usability, which is good. It's generally a very good thing until you have some of these ideas that don't quite fit into one module necessarily. Maybe they maybe you kind of want them in several places, which you can do as well. But there's a lot of use cases that we're seeing crop up, including some of my own ideas I've had, where it doesn't just necessarily fit in one place. And another aspect is of by nature of being embedded in products. There's always this presence of the product's navigation or what we call the Chrome, right, around the product. So we've got the top bar, the sidebar. There's always an understanding of which product you're actively in and your users are engaging with, as they also engage with your app. So that's where things currently stand, and those aren't necessarily problems, but we wanted to provide something a little bit different to kind of spark some more ideas and use cases. So that's kind of what Confluence full page app module is. Yeah, and that says it right there. So we want to enable you to build more. And some highlighted words there, but for me, the keyword is more, just more things, more use cases, more experiences. Yeah, so what is a full page module? Well, it's a Forge app that's rendered and takes up the entire page. Simple as that. It really comes down to our community, to our partners and customers, and how can we help build up this feature set and this module and the features of the Forge platform in general to kind of encourage more use cases and more value out of the platform to meet those challenges. Yeah. So what do we have here? So essentially, what we're talking about is a blank canvas, right? The full page. And when we're thinking about what types of apps could use a blank canvas, it's kind of ideas that you may have not considered before with Forge. Hopefully some of these are kind of starting to come into your minds now. Pop them into chat if you have any ideas, or perhaps like me, you've had ideas that haven't really quite fit into other modules. Hopefully this is a surface for you to start working with. Really, I guess what it boils down to for me is challenging our builders, our community, to think about flipping the script a bit from how can my app enhance my Atlassian product experience or the experience of my users, and flip that over to how can my app directly enhance or extend my system of work as a whole. In a way that might be unique to how I work or how my team works or my responsibilities or my industry, ways of working, culture. That's what we really want to kind of spark in the minds of our creative community. Yeah, so let us know if you have anything. An example might be what I really want to encourage is customers, for example. Customers maybe have internal tools that you've built on other platforms that integrate with Atlassian products through OAuth and REST. Could this be an opportunity to bring those tools onto the Forge platform, using our hosting, our data storage compliance, taking advantage of all the great Forge platform capabilities and bringing them to your internal tools? So yeah, really keen to hear more later. But for now, I think over to a demo.
Thank you so much, Timothy. That was an awesome walkthrough on what exactly full page modules are, and I'm super hyped just hearing about it again. So thank you. I'm going to take us.
Sorry, Han. Sorry to cut you, Han,
Yeah.
Timothy. Before we move on to the demo, I'd like to check out the chat first. I believe we have a question here. For
good.
sure, a lot of folks are curious about this as well. So from Suresh, is this full page feature available for Jira as well? So can you take
yes.
this one, Han or Timothy?
Yeah, I can take this. So yeah, this is a common question, and usually the first question, and it's a good one. It's so you've got Confluence full page apps now. What about Jira full page apps? And I think this is kind of a first step for us into something bigger, which we can talk about a bit later on after the demo. And we're kind of changing our thinking to think about less about product full page apps and more about full page apps in general. So as you'll see in the demo, we can still utilize Jira. And the host of this module is Confluence, technically. But there's a lot of intricacies and hopefully a really exciting roadmap for Forge in the platform that will kind of make the whole product host kind of a moot point. So yeah, we can get into that a bit later.
Okay, that's good to know. So thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so I reckon thanks for the questions, everyone. Yeah, with that being said, I shall take us through the demo and show you what exactly full page looks like. So I exit out of this, hop over to here. All right, so let's get into it. What we're seeing here right now is my Jira issue board. And I populated it with a few different items, 3 of them here. And if I pop into one of them, we can see that each issue has this built-in functionality to track time. So if you have a look over to the right here, there's currently 2.5 hours logged. And if I wanted a more detailed view of this, I can hop over to this tab and it shows that there has been 2 logs, one that's 1.5 hours and one that's an hour. So that adds up to our 2.5 hours. And this is, yeah, I want to show us how we can add a log. So if I was to go over here and click on it, then I can add a log and I can determine what time. So let's put it for today at about noon, and I can give it a very brief description. Let's say chat with the Atlassian backend team. And if I go ahead and save that, it's going to add a new log for me. So all of this is built in and our log goes up. Cool. So that's the current functionality, but I want to show you how full page modules can extend on this. So to do that, let's hop over to Confluence, and here we can see our full page module. So the thing to note about it is there's no product navigation Chrome. We have the real estate of the entire screen. The URL route is kind of like its own separate thing, kind of like how global page is currently has its own URL. And that's really good for having more control over user experience. And this app, which I'm going to call Timesheets, we can see that the biggest value add here is that it enables a lot of customization. So there's a lot of use cases for this. For example, if you're a customer who wants to build something whilst keeping your brand theming, then you can do that with full page modules. Or say if you wanted to take it for more of a personal use case. For example, I'd like to see my work logs on this more visual format in a calendar rather than clicking through each Jira issue, then I can do that with full page modules. And it also allows for just a lot of generalization if I wanted to distribute it onto marketplace apps. So there's a lot of potential there. We'd love to hear your ideas for what your use cases might be. So feel free to pop into the chat. Okay, so that's what the full page module looks like and is. Let's have a look at what it can do. So if I hit refresh here, my module can go and talk to my Jira product and pull in all of the work logs that's currently in my issue. So as you can see, each tile represents a log. And one issue can have multiple logs, and you can kind of see an example of that here. There's the one we just added from before. And Coffee Chat says 3 different tiles for each work log. And yeah, that's what's going on there. Now, not only can it communicate with Jira, but we can also manipulate and edit our data from this module as well. So to show you guys an example of that, I'm going to create a log from this calendar view, which is a lot easier than clicking through the dialog over in Jira. So let's say I create one right here. I can make a call to Jira to ask it what kind of issues are available. So there's these 3. Let's say I want to create one for researching the market, and we'll create a very generic one for it. Research the weather market, because it's quite rainy over here. And if we hit save, then it can go ahead and communicate that to Jira and update it for me. So if I go over to Jira, it's no longer in coffee chats, it's in researching the market. Hop over to work log, we can see that that has been added. Awesome. And yeah, another functionality that we can do is delete in this app as well. So to give you guys an example of that, if I click on the same tile and hit delete, then it will get rid of that issue for me and also update over in Jira as well. So that's a whole lot easier than going through the Jira issues. And yeah, no more researching the market. Cool. So as you can see, the biggest value here is that you can do a lot with this module, and there's a lot of potential for it. One more thing that I'd like to walk you guys through is the cross context, which is worth noting. That's a separate EAP from our one, but we can kind of see its functionality here. So if I hop back over to Jira, you can see that it's actually already installed here as well. We can click on that and you can see that it mirrors that view over from my full page module. And the awesome thing about this is that you can reuse this view, and with a small amount of logic, you can change around the app to suit your needs. So in order to check kind of like where this app is sitting, you can access the context. And if it is located on Jira project page, you can check that in the app code and then change it around however you need. An example of how we could use that in this app is, let's say in the full page module, this is currently displaying the tiles for all of my Jira projects. But if I was sitting here and I only wanted to display the tiles just for this project, then I can do that in the app code and it'll show a different view. And again, we can still have the same functionality of the app. We'll delete that. Okay, so that is, yeah, basically the demo. Thank you for watching that. I'm going to slip back into the slides now. Cool.
Oh, that's a really nice demo, Han. But
Thank you.
before we move forward, again, I'm going to interrupt. We have a question in the chat
Yep.
that maybe you can answer. So, can anonymous users access the full page module currently?
Okay. I'm going to hand this one over to Timothy. And also, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the technical, like what's going on in the app code, if that helps as well. But yeah.
Yeah, another very good question. That is a work in progress. So, do we want anonymous users accessing full page modules? I think that's a strong use case for full page for a module like this, right? So, Confluence and, for example, other products like JSM to a degree allow this sense of anonymous access where it makes sense. Sometimes you don't want your users to necessarily be fully licensed. You want them to be able to access things like portals or individual bits of data. So we're working with the Confluence team to enable anonymous access in hopefully a future EAP and enhancement.
Okay. So thanks, Andre, for the question. Hopefully, Timothy was able to answer. Okay. Handing back over to you, Han, and Timothy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ian. All right. So now you've gotten to see the module. Let's walk through how you guys can get started with playing around with it today. So first things first, being an EAP, the first thing to do is to sign up for our EAP. We will be linking to you the form for that, plus the CDAC post at the end of the presentation. Okay, so after we've signed up for the EAP, the second thing to do is to configure your Forge manifest file. So as you can see here, it's quite simple to get started. You just need to define Confluence full page. The thing to point out here is that in EAP, you can only define one resource at the moment. Cool. So that's that one. The thing I'd like to call out is that if you would like to also use cross-context in conjunction with our EAP, don't forget to sign up for the cross-context EAP, and then you'll be able to use it by adding the relevant products you'd like to install it in here. And in this case, for my app, we were able to install it in Jira under Jira project pages because of that. Cool. The next thing I wanted to walk you guys through is the front end. So the awesome thing about full page module is that you can customize the theming and quite a lot, as you can see here. And also you're able to use any component from any library that you would like because it is quite flexible that way. But you can still also use UIKit and custom UI if you would like to brand your app that way as well. Cool. So that was what's going on for front end. I'd also like to note that for full page module, we can actually leverage the Forge platform quite a bit and use the functionality we have available. For example, the REST API calls that you guys saw our app doing was utilizing those Forge REST APIs. That's how we were able to populate the calendar and also edit, post and delete the Jira issue views accordingly as well. So that's the awesome thing that you can do with full page modules. Let's see. The last thing I would like to walk you guys through was touching back on that cross context. Because you can utilize the Forge platform, one of those functionalities that is available is the cross context. And by defining it that way in the manifest, we were able to use that in the Jira project page as well, as you can see during our demo. Cool. So that is all of the technical things I would like to walk you through on how you can get started with full page. I'm going to hand it back to Timothy now to walk us through where full page is headed, plus EAP stats.
Cool. Thanks, Han. Appreciate it. Yeah, love your demo. Very, yeah, it's a great use case, right? So it's taking capabilities that are already available in the Atlassian platform and products and kind of creating a custom view over it, right? So getting new value out of it. It's really cool. Yeah, so 30 days, I think we've had the EAP active and we have had 26 signups, which is great. Feel free to go and add yourselves to that number. The more feedback we get, more momentum we get and alignment with our community, the more features we can build. So yeah, if you have an interest in building something and getting amongst it, please do. Encourage you to, absolutely. Let me see if my query finished to see how many apps are currently in. We have already registered under the EAP. I've lost it. I might have to. Oh, 10. We have 10 active apps in testing, which is great. So yeah, lots of playing around going on there. I'll dig into those stats a bit more. That's really neat. All right, what's next? So where are we going? So yeah, I think a lot of you may have seen kind of or sensed a trend, hopefully, of more of what this module represents than what it is. And so we're looking for a way to essentially allow our community and our builders to really contribute their unique solutions to the system of work of our customers. And so what does that mean? That means instead of you think about products like Jira and Confluence, instead of your app being part of that, and you can also have an experience that sits alongside those, and so sits on top of the Atlassian platform using Forge. And so what that could look like in the future is maybe your app appearing in the app switcher if it's installed. So alongside of the other great products and of our system of work, and even potentially being bundled into larger collections of apps that are tailored and specific to all the wonderful industries that we work in. Yeah, that's the vision. That's where we're going. So if at any point you feel there's features that can help us work towards that goal, or if you have use cases that you feel would really benefit from these types of features, we'd love to hear about them. We jump over to the next slide. I think we have so like Han showed, it really is just an extension of the existing features we have, all the wonderful platform features we have on Forge. specifically showing off the use case with cross-context apps. It's a great EAP. Get amongst it if you haven't. But it's this idea of how can we treat maybe can we create experiences where we use Atlassian as more of a platform to springboard our use cases in these experiences. And another one we've got maybe in the works. If you've been paying close attention to our roadmap, our public roadmap, you may have seen some whispers about Forge real-time or real-time events. So this is a way that, for example, in apps currently, right? If you're on a page and you have multiple modules in your app, they can communicate with each other through the Forge bridge and using those events. But up until soon, we haven't had a way to communicate and synchronize changes between users or even between tabs in your browser. So some really neat things in the works. Keep an eye on the Forge changelog for some really exciting announcements. So, for example, you can imagine, well, free app idea for the community here. Imagine a app that aggregates all of your comments or threads of conversation that you've got between your Confluence docs and your Jira issues, and aggregating all of those into one place and being able to reply directly in a custom full-page view, and getting live updates from real-time events when people reply or you get pinged or notified. For example, in Han's demo there, imagine being able to have live updates when someone changes their work or logs new work, and that pops up straight in your interface. So yeah, lots of synergy with some upcoming platform features that we're really excited about. So yeah, I think that's enough from me. Back to you, Han.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Timothy. I'm really excited where the future of full page is going to go. But that being said, we really want to hear from you guys. What use cases do you see full page modules fulfilling? We'd love to hear about it if you pop some in the chat. And yeah, looking forward to building more stuff that you'd like to see in Forge. So that basically wraps up our presentation. The last thing that we would like to show you today is this is the link for the EAP sign-up form. If you haven't already, why don't you give it a go? Let us know how it goes. And yeah, thank you for listening today. I'm going to hand it back to Ian and Katerina.
Yep. Thanks for the really nice demo, Han, and Timothy for your bright ideas on what apps they could make out of this. Going to the chat, do we have some questions, Katerina?
Yes. So more. So the question is. So we've seen it. It's good. It enables some more use cases, and this was a comment by Andre. But it might conflict with ROA, which runs on Atlassian. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, Timothy and Dan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, the benefit of having these utilities and building these utilities with Forge is that the app developers have control over egress, right? And the site admins who are installing these apps, they understand what could egress or how have these apps been built. And so ROA runs on Atlassian compliance is extremely important to our enterprise customers. And there's I don't see why full page kind of applications couldn't be part of that. So if you want to build full page experiences that run on Atlassian, then you can absolutely go ahead and do that and tempt some of our enterprise level customers to use your solutions.
Maybe a follow up, and I'm trying to guess the context here. So if we are connecting Jira with Confluence, as you showed, does that still qualify for runs on Atlassian, for the runs on Atlassian badge, or not?
Yeah, so both of those, but anything, because it's treating the Atlassian platform as a closed system, then absolutely they'll still be ROA compliant as long as it's within Atlassian's products.
Cool. And Andre, if you want to follow up, please post in the chat about that. Cool. So, Ian, am I doing more questions or are you taking over?
I think there's another question that we can pop up. Yeah, I think we still have time for a couple more questions. So the question goes like, how many use cases can we add into a full page?
Yeah,
I have my thoughts, but I leave it to the experts.
it's a,
Timothy, would you like to?
yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it's up to you. So if you use Atlassian software and you're a customer and you want to create your own tools, you may want to create one full-page app to just do everything you need and switch between them. But if you're a partner developing use case specific solutions, you're more likely to tailor how you use this module to one use case. And if you have multiple use cases, they're perhaps better as separate apps that you can license separately or bundle together in a collection. Yeah, the freedom of how these things are designed is really up to the builder.
And Timothy, I think you said that right now it supports just one module in the manifest, so we can only have one full page app in the manifest, right? So we can't I think it's in Jira, you can have multiple levels for, I think it's at the admin page or some other module. So that's currently not possible with full page apps. Is it something you are considering or maybe looking for more use cases to understand the needs there?
Yeah, it's definitely something that if there's use cases and there's demand for, we can absolutely do. I mean, the great thing about the full page is that you could add your own navigation and essentially you're building a single page app, right? So you could have your own URLs that go to different parts and handle that routing yourself and changing what's displaying on the screen at any given time. Now, if having your code split over several instances of the full page module would be beneficial, I can absolutely see that. We'd love to hear that feedback and we can make that happen.
Okay. Thank you. Hang on. There you go. Since we're answering chats, let's go over to Andre's question. Actually, I do have the same question. Han, maybe this is something you can help with. So, was the demo you showed the same app working in both Jira and Confluence, or were they two separate apps?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So that was the same app on both Jira and Confluence. They were both installed so they could talk to, they could communicate in Jira and Confluence. Yeah, and because of that, there's very little logic you'd need to add if you wanted to make the one in Jira work a little bit differently. For example, the example I used where if you just want the tiles to display projects within that Jira, the Jira project, then you can access it through the context and yeah, make your changes that way. But it was the same app.
Cool. Yep. Thanks. So we just need to separately install them, but it's just basically the same app.
Yes, it's the same app. Yeah,
Sweet.
and you can use cross-context EAP as well, so that yeah, you can have it installed across both.
Yeah, I highly recommend that if you're interested in that kind of workflow, signing up for the cross-context app EAP. There are some limitations there, but I know the team is also taking feedback there and seeing how we can potentially evolve that to meet more use cases. So yeah, engagement and feedback is the best thing to help guide these features going forward.
In case some of our viewers are not familiar with the cross-context EAP, is it out already, or are we expecting it anytime soon?
Yep, it's out and it's public and it's ready to go. So there is another CDAC post and sign up form for that.
Okay, thank you. I think we have 2 more questions before we go. Let's take this one from Lars. Hello, great talk. Yep, thanks to the speakers. Yeah, does this work together with database in Confluence?
Right, I'll pass this one to Timothy again.
Yeah, so this absolutely can pull data from Confluence. So the site that it's installed on, you could pull document information, anything you want really. So you can utilize the Confluence, your Confluence data, your Jira data, as Han showed, but also the Forge platform. So if you need databases, if you need key value stores, SQL, all sorts of runtimes, you can use the Forge platform to enable that. So you can utilize everything that's available across our product APIs and Forge platform.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering. I don't know. I know some people here, they might know more than I do. I'm actually checking if we have REST APIs specifically for Confluence databases. So I'm looking. Otherwise, maybe this is something for like I'll share links and resources.
Yeah. So as far as I know, it's just if you're looking at the Forge bridge and you're looking at how to communicate with product APIs, you've got the request Confluence method on the bridge, and so it's using the REST APIs that are exposed through that method there. So yeah, that's what's available to us at this point.
Yeah, and maybe Lars, if there are any gaps, if you know if the REST APIs are not available, please let us know and we can follow up on that as well.
Okay, thank you. Before we go to the last question, I know I asked about the cross-context EAP. So thanks, Mel, for providing the link. So if anyone is interested about learning more on the cross-context EAP, here's the link. Okay, and moving on to the last question, we have Cristo. So this is a very specific use case, if I understand it correctly. Will this go to you, Han, or Timothy?
I can answer this one. Yeah. So want to open a full page module by the byline item in Confluence, but it opens intermediate dialog first. Do you know why the byline item does that? So my best guess is that it comes down to design best practice and user accessibility and experience. So we always work with a friction when we're developing features with Forge, and that friction is how can we make sure that our product experiences that we embed with they meet best practice, they're accessible, and they behave in a way that our users would expect. And so that's done through our user research and our design process. And then the other side of that friction is how can we offer as much functionality and features as possible to our development community. And so I think this is one of those points where and we can raise this and we can have conversations about it, absolutely. But for me, opening a full page from a byline may violate some of these principles we have around usability and user experience. So that's more of a guess, but it's something we can raise with the design team and talk through if that's going to be if you have a use case for that. We'd love to hear about it.
Cool. Okay. Do we have any other last minute questions? I'm just trying to make sure we didn't miss on anything. Oh, we have this last one from Suresh, I think. So we can take this last one before we go. There you go.
Awesome. I can take this one. Okay, so at the moment, the structure of the full page module is /wiki/full page, and then followed by the app ID and the env ID. You can find your app ID in your manifest, and the env ID you can find by running the CLI command forge environments list and putting in the development environment or whichever environment it's on. Although this is detailed in the CDAC post that we linked before, so you'll be able to reference that if you need.
Okay.
Yeah. So I might just answer that last part there. Can we make it a more readable format? Yeah, I agree. Those URLs are not the prettiest things. especially passing around links to those. So that's again, that's a great feature request, something we've been considering how we can achieve. Even can we allow app developers or site admins to assign custom URLs to these full page apps and manage them that way. So that's something we're thinking about. Would love to present some options.
Okay, and I think that's pretty much it. Again, thank you, Han, for the demo, and Timothy as well. Um, if you want to learn more about this EAP, you can check out this link that I'll drop in the chat in a bit. There you go. I'll highlight it so that the folks watching this recording can also see it. So if you want to learn more about the CAP or if you have questions, please go to this community post to learn more about it. And with that, Katerina, um, any parting words before I close the session?
I think, as usual, I've learned a lot from our presenters as well as from our community because of all the feedback, all the use cases that have been shared, and there is always something that I didn't consider. So thank you for sharing, and thank you for being here and participating.
And that's it. Thanks, everyone. As always, I hope you learned something of value today. See you next time. We'll be having another Dev Den in a couple of weeks, so please watch our Ace Developer Community page. Okay, with that, thanks everyone. Thanks, Han. Thanks, Timothy. Thanks,
Thanks.
Katerina.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks
Bye.
everyone. Cheers. Bye.